Well, since he left Arsenal 17 months ago, Arsene Wenger has been agonising over whether or not to take another team, another club, or possibly an international team. But he's finally decided he wants to pass on his knowledge. Glenn, if it's the game's loss in some ways in terms of teams, is it a massive gain for the overall game itself with this, if you like, top signing by FIFA?
Yeah, I think so. I said before, I think he's one of the big names in football, and he pretty much knows the game from start to finish. And I think the more he's involved and the more opportunity he gets to give back, I think it's better for everyone.
And the fact that when he came into the game, he was known as a revolutionary, and he's somebody who's not afraid to push the boundaries and to look outside traditional methods and also traditional thinking. Does that bode well for the game's governing body too? Yeah, definitely.
Many people see from back in the day that Arsene changed the way football's played today. So the way he sees the game and the things he would have learned off the pitch as well, I think he'll carry it in his strides going forward, and I think he'll do very well.
John, the fact that he has got such a huge amount of experience, but also not just a huge amount of experience, but at the sharp end, is that going to stand the game in good stead?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a clever appointment from Infantino. I think, as you said, we've spoken about his experience, his understanding, his development of younger players, successful squads, but also I think his calmness. And I think sometimes you look at FIFA and some of the madness that was kind of flowing around. You're looking at an appointment like Arsene Wenger going in just to keep an even keel to everything. He's going to be part of education programmes, all things like that. It can only be a win-win, you would imagine. And I'm just surprised that he hasn't been tempted back to a club team or a national team.
Well, first of all, it's a pretty wide-ranging brief that he's got. When you look at some of the areas that he's going to be involved in, I mean, it is a big job as well. Head, as you see there, head of all football development activities. He chairs the technical study group, oversees FIFA's participation on the International Association Board, so that's pretty much the rule makers. Yeah. He'll also be involved in looking back at tournaments and the success of tournaments. And he actually told me today as well, he will also have a part in, dare I say it, VAR as well. He won't be in charge, but he will make a contribution, which is a bit ironic, isn't it, Glenn? for the man that said, I didn't see it so many times.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you see from that list, he's clearly going to have his hands full, but I'm sure a man of his calibre can handle it.
The fact that he speaks 5 languages, he's clearly made for the role, for the world game. But can you understand why it took him 17 months, why he agonised? Because he said before, I live for the results, I live for the game at the weekend, and your entire week is do or die based on the result. And I'm addicted to it.
Yeah, and look, obviously with the success that he's had and being at the top level for so long, management, he probably mulled over lots of offers, top clubs, national clubs probably, and nothing obviously grabbed him too much to obviously take it. And then this comes along, he thought, OK, there's not the same intensity of a full-time 90 minutes or whatever, getting the result, but he'll have such a rewarding maybe job if he's helping out smaller nations, become part of big tournaments, developing new coaches in smaller countries, etc., as well as bigger countries. But he'll play a part in that, and maybe that's something that he's probably thought, OK, I've had enough intensity, I want to relax a little bit more.
Glenn, I thought it was quite revealing as well in his state, Arsene Wenger. He said this new FIFA that is emerging, and he has been critical, highly critical of FIFA in the past, but it's as though there's a level of trust. He thinks a lot of the old regime, the corrupt regime, has been swept away, and he now believes that, I mean, he's got a very good name. He's not just being used to put a veneer on that organisation. He can actually do some good. Do you think, by the sound of it, that was important to him in his decision-making?
Yeah, I'm sure it is. It's like anybody accepting a new role. You're going to want to know where the company's going, and you want to sort of believe in and pull in the same direction. So I think he's probably seen a change. It's not FIFA of old, and I'm sure he believes in their beliefs now, and he can add to it and put his own stamp on it.
If you were both going to send him an email tomorrow, what would you put in his in tray? What does he need to do?
Delete VAR.
Don't jump the gun. We'll get to VAR.
Sorry, I'm excited.
I think with FIFA, the control of the World Cup, making sure the quality of that remains the same. There's talk now of obviously the FIFA World Club Cup getting revamped. He'll understand how important the Champions League is to European teams, being obviously involved with Arsenal for so long in the Champions League. UEFA are obviously a little bit worried about that, the Club World Cup becoming so big and maybe upsetting the Champions League scenario type of thing. So he'll be very important in that going forward, to making sure everyone's kind of accepting to the new idea.
Do you think he will have sympathy with Jurgen Klopp and also Pep Guardiola, that top-level players simply play too much football?
Yeah, possibly. Because, well, you know, over the years, the players playing international football and in the Champions League, they're probably only getting a few weeks' rest in a solid break, 2 weeks a year?
When you started out as a pro, how much time did you get off in the summer?
Initially, it was about 5 to 6 weeks. And then when you step into the international, you're talking about 2 weeks. Of course, you get days off during the weeks throughout the season, but the odd day here and there, it's not like going away and putting your feet up for a week or two.
Has that gone completely now? Players, they're pretty much ticking over all the time?
Yeah, pretty much. And then on the back of it, it's not so bad now, but at the start, when the lads were only getting 2 weeks off, they come back into a pre-season and pretty much do the full schedule of work, where if you was injured for 4 weeks during the season, you wouldn't do a 6-week training camp. So the lads don't really lose their fitness after 2 weeks. But nowadays it's better, like I say, the coaches have learnt more and kicked on, so they sort of taper the players back in. It's not so right
as well, don't you? You'll have found some managers during the season, if they can try get, all right, Glenn, look, you were away with England in the summer as well, have a week, say in December, January, whatever, if you can, if it's everyone's fully fit in the squad, etc., everything's going well, right, I need him, I'm going to need him fit and strong for the rest of the season. Middle of January, whatever it is, get away for a week with a family. Different managers always found a chance, if they could, to get in those little extra weeks.
Top up the days off, don't they?
Yeah. I mean, the hope with Arsene Wenger is that he will push back against various people within the organisation who are looking at the commercialism, more games, and he will very much be batting for the football side and understanding needs of players and of clubs.
Well, he'll have to be, and I think that's where the realisation is, as you just spoke about, the commercial side is so important. Everyone knows that. It's a huge part to play with the broadcasting rights, etc. But ultimately, it's the quality that's on show as well. If that's going to be effective with players getting injured, or star players getting injured, etc., that affects the quality.
But how does he steer clear of the politics of FIFA?
All the best with that. He doesn't see it, so he might be able to avoid it. No, look, he knows he's going to have to get involved in that, and I think that's another reason why FIFA would have got him involved, that he has been able to play that political game well.
OK, well, he's champing at the bit here on my right. Because Arsene Wenger will be involved with VAR, but there is a Premier League summit tomorrow where we are told that VAR will be discussed. And for your money, Glenn, I think you probably are slightly stronger. I'll show you some quotes here, as we understand it, from some Premier League clubs, their feelings going into the meeting tomorrow with regard to VAR. Crisis instead of an opportunity. Stopping the enjoyment of the game and creating confusion, bewilderment and anger from the fans in the stadium. I think you said all this, didn't you?
My quotes.
Glenn, do you echo those sentiments?
Yeah, and mainly the second one. I think since it's come in, too many people don't understand it, me included. And it's the fact that for me, it's taken the fun and the enjoyment and the passion away from the game. In the sense that nowadays, when the goal's gone in, fans are delaying their reaction and not celebrating because they're worried that it might get taken away and sort of embarrass them in front of the other fans or whatever. So, but then to react afterwards and celebrate, it's now false. So it takes that initial bit of passion away, and that.
Do you not think ultimately, if they get I understand what you're saying totally, but if they get the right outcome, on which they would argue, they're slowly getting there, the percentages have improved.
Well, the figure that's been quoted is they used to get 1 in 5 of the key decisions wrong, is now 1 in 10. That's a big increase in getting the right decisions.
Yeah. And
is that not enough to sway you?
No, because I think it should be used for goals, in the sense that, and maybe offsides in, say, I don't know, let's say the final third.
But
something.
Glenn, this is the problem. This is where you get into semantics. It's like
he wants to daylight.
If you go to the fellas, if you go to his big toe.
Yeah, look, I'm not saying they've got an easy job here, but to say someone's offside by a toenail is ridiculous. Just let the game go.
I can't tell you how big Lundstrom's toe is, but
it's obviously too big.
But that is the worst part of that, not the definitive measurement. The fact that took 3 minutes 47 seconds to come to a decision.
Well, that's the other issue. So it's time-consuming. No one really understands, and the fans are sort of sat there. They're not involved in.
I think that's one of the big things.
They don't know what's going on, and they just get a decision.
Yeah. They have to change that rule as well, that they can't. They're not allowed to have the audio, are they, from the photo or the referee in the Stockley Park or wherever he is. Yep. They're not allowed that audio, I don't think. So the explanation can't get through to the players, the staff, the fans. So if that was allowed, I think it's an IFAB rule there where it's...
They might understand it a bit better, mightn't they?
Yeah, well, I mean, that could help. That should definitely help.
Look, at this meeting tomorrow, it's not going to go away. They're not going to say, actually, no, it's gone. OK? They're not following FIFA's protocol, and at the moment, everybody's unhappy. Fans are unhappy, players are unhappy. Yeah. It's just not working in its current guise. But VAR said this originally. They said that this was, I think it's 14th development. OK, so far this is its 14th incarnation. So it could take another couple of years before they get it right. Are we not better off going through pain to get to where we want to?
Well, yeah, but how much pain?
Could they not have done the pain?
Well, that's the question.
If it works and they get it right, then I think it can be a good part of the game. But the fans need to understand what's going on. It needs to be quick decisions.
Now, by that, are you saying big screen? I mean, what's the sort? How can you have a scenario where at Old Trafford and Anfield there isn't a big screen to explain the decision? Yeah. That's nonsense, isn't it?
Well, I think for starters, they definitely need to start going to the pitch side monitor. I think that should definitely be used a bit more. I can't understand for the life of me whether they've not been going to the side of the pitch themselves.
Well, originally,
surely that's got to help.
Originally, they didn't want the ref going to the pitch side monitor because it was felt it would take up too much time. But if the ref goes to the pitch side monitor, let's say from the weekend, Michael Oliver, the Trent Alexander-Arnold incident, he went to the monitor, looked at it, and said, "Yep. Definitely not a penalty. Goal for Liverpool stands." Would that make Manchester City feel any better? It's the same decision.
Same decision, yeah.
So what would going to that monitor add?
In the referee's head, he's open and clarifying. Look, this is what I've saw. He's made that call, and in his head he's confirmed that he's made the right decision.
But the decisions that take 3 minutes, they're obviously looking for something, because you watch it and you either know straight away or you don't. It don't take 3 minutes. You don't have to watch it 20 times.
That's not entirely true, because you see different angles.
Oh, of course, yeah, but it's not 3 minutes.
No, but sometimes you see... I think the worst thing is what we've just seen in the Rugby World Cup. It's very, very obvious. It's very open. Referee stands, looks at it on the big screen. The whole crowd can see it. Yeah. They rock and roll various incidents. Yeah. And it's inclusive. Now, rugby's a different sport, and that has different stoppages as well. I accept that. And cricket, it just seems to be so much better.
Mm. Yeah. And hopefully, as you said, season by season, we get to that. But as you said, there's going to be a bit of pain along the way.
I think we've had a tweet in already about this by a gentleman the name of John Stevens, who basically says, look, why don't we get VAR to be used as a tool for progression in refereeing? Get the young refs on the pitch and the experienced ones with the screen.
Oh, no. Need those experienced refs on the pitch. Look, it's the balance. There's enough refs, I think, as well to cover, especially the Premier League. I think people in the VAR units and
the other thing, look, you know the refs.
Should you have a former player or a former? Like,
now, I've heard that said before. What would that bring? What would a former player...
To be fair, it'd only bring more controversy. The bias angle.
Go on, make the case for a former player being involved, like sitting alongside Stockley Park.
The understanding of a situation of accidental handballs or clear red cards.
Do you think refs don't know that?
No, they do, but a little bit of help along the way wouldn't go amiss. But I think it'd be too hard to, because people would want to know who was the former player, who in charge of Liverpool, Man City.
What's his allegiance?
Who does he support? No, there'd be too much. Forget that one.
I mean, I know some referees bristle at this suggestion because they say, yeah, we know the players know the game, they don't necessarily know the laws of the game.
Yeah,
that would be
which is true to a degree, I guess. But John's right in the sense that, I don't know, all over the years we've seen like a accidental late tackle, and they've been given a red card because apparently he's stamped on him. But you can see when a player's gone to stamp on someone or not. And when you play the game like we have, you know when someone's done accidental or not, whether it looks bad or not.
So what if you could change one aspect or help evolve VAR at that meeting tomorrow, what would it be?
The communication, that people could hear, the communication.
The public.
The public, especially to somehow keep... And the time,
that'd be top of your list as opposed to 4 minutes for a decision.
Yeah, well, the time constraints, to shorten it down, somehow get the angles for the ref. I think if they can get to the side of the pitch, see the angles as quickly as possible, that one might be the more beneficial, I think.
Yeah, I agree. But for me, mainly the speed of it. I think it'd be easier to accept if... Because ultimately they're just trying to get the right decision, which is great for the game, but it just needs to be quick. And
have you both noticed quite a sea change as well? There's a lot of senior figures, former players who were behind this, a lot of commentators, an awful lot of the media saying, yep, let's give it our best shot. Everybody went to the workshop at Stockley Park, everybody was right behind it. And people who have a vested interest in the game, they're not, this isn't clickbait, this isn't people looking to make opinions for the sake of it. A lot of people saying, it's a disaster, get rid.
You got it wrong.
Is it?
I do they go back and go back to the Premier League Youth League or youth competitions, keep it there for another year, 2 years, and we'll go, right, we're coming back now. We've got things. I know they did that already, but keep it there for another year, keep it there for another 2 seasons.
Yeah, but at some point they've got to roll it out.
That's what I mean. We have to deal with the pain. We have to suffer it.
Do you think it's that bad that you would bin it now?
No, I don't think it's that bad that I'd bin it now. I'd keep changing it, keep trying things each time. Let the refs go to the pitch side monitors more often. If we can somehow get the communication open to everybody.
You're not going to satisfy Glenn's point. We are now at the stage, somebody's going to score a goal, and there's not that, unless they're obvious, a screamer from 30 yards where there's blatantly nothing wrong. People are scoring goals, and it's the delay. That with VAR, that is now forever a part of football.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think they just need to get to the point where we're not having those toenail offsides. It needs to be a clear advantage.
Yeah, the problem
it needs to be a clear advantage.
Yeah, because what do you call a clear advantage?
Well, I don't know.
Daylight?
That's why I'm not in that ballroom. No, not daylight, but whether that guy was... So the guy was offside. Say he was 2 inches this side. He still puts that cross in and they score.
Yeah, but rules is rules, I'm afraid, fella.
Yeah, I agree, but it needs to be... It's still entertainment at the end of the day. Like, the fans don't care if someone's off...
Yeah, but you have... Yeah, but
well,
you know yourself, how many times as a player did you moan at a ref and say, come on, we want consistency?
Yeah.
So you'd be moaning, wouldn't you?
Well, no, because then... No, it's a hard one, because in that moment, it's so tight that you've got to let the game flow. You've got to let the game flow.
But the VAR gets the decision.
It's got it right, but would we have ever noticed if it weren't here?
Well,
no one would ever said a thing.
No.
If you look back in both of your careers, you think of massive decisions that went either for or against you, and how your careers or games would have changed. Would you have wanted VAR then? Can you think of something right now? Think that went against us, and to this day it still rankles with me. I think I know where you're going.
There's a couple, but there was one, the Champions League, Porto. There was an offside goal, and obviously they scored, and obviously Jose Mourinho went on and had amazing success with Porto, Chelsea, etc.
Yep.
So if there had been VAR, then that could have changed, altered things.
Might never have heard of the bloke.
You never know. But that would have been one. That would have been one.
International level, anything? Spring?
Well, I did my best to erase that from memory. But look, that would have been so clear. That would have been done.
Thierry Henry.
You'd imagine, you would have hoped that would have took 20 seconds.
So for all your arguing about VAR just then, for those things,
that's what I mean. I think we still have to. We still have to run with it. We still have to run with it now, and just make the changes along the way to hopefully improve it for everybody.
Come on, there must be one you were bitter about still. There's got to be one in the locker.
I'm not a bitter man, but yeah, same thing. Chelsea conceding that goal that didn't happen with Liverpool. So. And that was the Champions League semi-final. So, yeah, of course. But that's where I think it can be good. Obvious goal line situations, then of
clears
course,
that up.
Yeah, then that's fine, and that is good for the game because in them massive moments, goals change games, and obviously there's a lot of pressure on the guys now to perform and jobs on
the Trent Alexander, the penalty or the not penalty just before Liverpool scored, and some of us think that could have been given as the penalty. You know what I mean? And next thing they've looked at it, they've gone back and looked at it and gone, well, no, because they're saying his arm is down by his side.
It's subjective.
You're
never going to take that out of the game.
Yeah. No.